solve simultaneous equations. Hopefully before this you've seen that you can solve simultaneous equations graphically and you see their point of intersection. Well, we're going to use two more methods, and this method is substitution method, okay, where we can get to the same result. Okay, so use substitution method to solve simultaneous equations. Find a suitable, so the first thing we need to do is find a suitable, according to the success criteria, is substitution. Y equals is a really good one. And then make everything in terms of x is a good way, or in terms of y. And then we're going to substitute it in. I'll talk about more of those success criteria later. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is, with simultaneous equations, the first thing you need to have is two equations, and we do that. And so we need to label them. So I'm going to go 1, I'm going to go 2. Alright. Now, the really good thing is I've got something of y in terms of x, alright? And remember that this equal signs means that y is equal to x plus 1. That means we can use it in place of x plus 1. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go substitute 1 into 2. And what that's saying is that I'm going to substitute this equation into this equation. Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, let's write the second one because that's the one when I'm substituting into it. So I'm going to write this one. I'm going to go x plus, now instead of y, I'm going to put x minus 1 because y equals x minus 1. So y equals x minus 1. So instead of that, I'm going to put x minus 1. And then I'm going to continue writing this guy from here. So what does it equal? 3. So equals 3. Now I'm going to rub off a few of the stuff that I've done here, including the pen, because I feel like it's getting a bit too busy. So now this is really good because I've got everything in terms of x, okay? So let's keep going. X plus x is 2x. And then we've got minus 1, which is just by itself. So minus 1 equals 3. And now I'm going to solve this equation. First of all, I'm going to plus that 1. Move it to the other side. So I'm left with just 2x on this side and I get 4. And now remember there's a times in between these 2. So the opposite of that is divide by 2. So divide by 2. So therefore, x equals 2. Now I'm going to have to give myself a bit more space. So I might write over example 2 and we'll use the other space for the next example. So I've got x equals 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sub the value of x equals 2 into here. Alright, but I need to explain it. So I'm going to go sub x equals 2 into which one of the equations? Into equation number 1. So I'm going to put equation 1. And now I'm going to rewrite it. Y equals, what was x? It was 2. So I'm going to put that in place of that. So 2, and then I'm just going to write the rest of this, minus 1. Okay, I'm going to just rub that out. So y, what's 2 minus 1? It's just 1. So therefore, x equals 2 and y equals 1. And I can write that as a coordinate, therefore equals 2, 1, if I wanted to write it as a coordinate. Because remember we saw in the last lesson that it's just a point of intersection. Okay, can you please pause this so you can watch the rest of it, because I'm going to use this space now to do example number 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go 1 and 2, and I'm going to just do the same thing. So I'm going to substitute 1 into 2. Now, it could be the case that you substitute 2 into 1. In this case, both these examples mean that I substitute 1 into 2 because I've got y equals into something of x, which makes it a lot easier. Okay. So I'm going to start writing 2 out. So 2x minus, what's our y? 3x equals 2. So I'm left with negative x, because 2 minus 3x is just minus x, and that equals 2. Therefore, x equals negative 2, because we just chucked the negative over to the other side. Now, I'm going to sub my x back into sub x into, I'm going to sub it into 1. So sub it into 1, and I've got y equals, now remember that in between the 3 and the x, there's a multiplication that mathematicians are too lazy to write. So I'm going to go 3 times, and our x value is negative 2, so it's negative 2. So therefore, y equals negative 6. Now, I'm going to go this way to finish my answer, so I'm not using example 1 in this case. So therefore, x equals negative 2, and that's just from there, and y equals negative 6. Therefore, if I wrote it as a coordinate, it'll be minus 2, minus 6. And that's it. Hopefully this makes sense. Peace out.